What's up, everybody? It's Zach here with Box Alarm Trading. Just here to talk about the fights from yesterday. We had some crazy matchups. DDP's the continued champ. We have him retaining his title and beating Izzy Adesanya with a choke. Once again, he pulls the rabbit out of the hat. This guy looks like he's going to lose, and he decides, you know what? I'm actually pretty good. Let me just go ahead and win. And looks like he's going to be gassed. Crazy style, frenetic pace once again. Really good fight. I also thought Izzy looked pretty good. We're going to talk about 6 matchups today. We'll talk about Jack Jenkins. We'll talk about Casey Oneal. We'll talk about Prates. We'll talk about some of my picks. And then we'll answer some of y'all's questions out there. First up, let's go to screen share here. And we've got Jenkins and Herbert Burns. And this really was a really solid performance by Jack Jenkins. I don't remember him looking this polished in the pocket. This dude was tight with his boxing, throwing good body shots. Honestly, kind of reminded me a little bit of JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, in his boxing and in his approach. We saw him really sting with the calf kicks towards the end, and Burns gave him the no mas, you know? I mean, he got dropped, got taken down. Jenkins swarmed him, was punishing him on the ground, and then he disengaged. Really smart for Jenkins to disengage. And Herbert Burns, no mas, could not get up. Really solid performance there. This week I went 3-3, so not great, not terrible, and it turned out that I am right now 11-6 on my picks. How did you guys do on your picks this week? Did anybody place any bets? How did that go out in that world? But solid performance from Jack Jenkins. And let's look at this finish here. Get it started. And this is after after Jenkins had just been absolutely punishing him for two, 3 rounds right at the start of the third. Gave him the no mas, man, couldn't get up. He thought about it. Burns thought about it, dude. And then he said, nah. He said, nah, I don't really want those problems, actually. How about I just stay down here? How about that? But fun fight. Again, Jenkins is good, man. Jenkins is legit. He also has some pretty good cards, and we'll talk about those here in a second. Let's look out in the chat. Let's see, what do we got here? What up, Maddie? Great win for DDP. Izzy has lost some explosiveness. Kai, solid rounds. Tired of slugfest at heavyweight. Felt bad for Lee. Decent event overall. So what up, Maddie Mac? Thanks for dropping by. Everybody, drop some comments in the chat if you guys have anything you want to talk about. I told you at the beginning of the show, I got 6 fights that I want to talk about mainly, and then we'll talk about some futures. We'll talk about a recap of what happened at the events. We'll talk about some card values and how the fight turned out, and how the fight, what's the word? Resolution, or it's early. I still got my coffee in hand, so bear with me here. Dude, the fights are so late. I think I was up till like almost 12:30 last night. But we'll talk about how the fights ended and how that will affect futures in the divisions. But thanks for dropping by, Maddie Mac. Let's see what else. Who else we got in here? What's up, y'all? Thanks everybody for stopping by today and this morning. Let's see. You cannot fight for 11 months at 35. Come in and think you're gonna knock off a champ who has a role, and I need fighters to fight more during the calendar year. We didn't see Izzy's best. Yeah, man. Well, let me go back to my screen share, and we'll go to some picks here, and we'll talk about Izzy. And so I picked Dricus here. I really like Izzy, man. Izzy has been a great champ. I've really enjoyed his run. Honestly, he didn't look bad tonight. I do agree that he lost a little bit of explosiveness, and he still looked pretty good though, and he looked pretty solid on the feet. He was able to control a lot of the exchanges. His footwork looked good. He was able to evade the blitz, erratic blitz style that DDP has. And he took some shots really well. He took some big shots, and he took them well. But at 35, like you guys are mentioning, you know, man, I think Izzy did need the time off, and I think that did benefit him in this matchup. But at 35, that's why I picked against him here. I went DDP. I just don't you know, when you're 35 plus in title fights, the statistics are just very, very stacked against you. And so I wanted Izzy to win, but my brain was telling me like DDP is probably going to take it. The age factor, the wrestling, you know, Izzy coming off of mentally coming off of a tough loss against Strickland, and combat sports and MMA in general and fighting in general is so mental that like once you sustain that loss, you almost have to have an unreasonable amount of self-confidence and self-belief. Like normal, not a normal person's self-belief is going to get you there. It has to be like otherworldly and almost delusional. And once you sustain a loss or two, like I think that really gets into your head. And then whenever you get into really sticky situations and hard situations in fights, I think that's when we see people that have maybe had 1 or 2 losses that were former champs really kind of start to get that self-doubt. And I think that's huge in combat sports and in fighting. But let's hop over to, and we'll talk about a little bit more about Jack Jenkins before I go back to the chat. And I wanted to just look at a little bit of his cards because he is a pretty big chase right now in 2024 tops. And like always, right, we talked about how bad the 2024 Topps Chrome rookie set was. And then we see Jack Jenkins put on a performance like that. And then it's like, oh, he's a rookie. Like maybe I should go look at his stuff, right? So there's always people that are going to pop up whenever we're talking about rookies in the card world. There's people that are going to fly under the radar, then they have a good performance, and then you go check their stuff out. I will say Herbert Burns is not a great litmus test. So if you're a person who likes to buy rookies and speculate, I wouldn't, you know, that performance does not mean he's going to be a champion because it was against Herbert Burns. But this is a 101 super factor, so this is probably one of his best cards. Now notice that this does not have the rookie stamp. It does not have a rookie stamp on this, but this is his rookie card. I don't like that at all. And I would not, I don't know if I'd really be trying to pay decent money, you know, like this one ended up selling, I checked it out over on 130 point, and ended up selling for $1,000, which is, I mean, you know, depending on how you value him as a prospect, for a 101 rookie is not bad. But with no rookie stamp, I'd be a little hesitant to buy that. Now this, his first vertical first auto with the rookie stamp, I think that's the card that I would be trying to go for if I was a Jack Jenkins collector and if I wanted to collect Jack Jenkins. But that's just me, man. That's just me. And Jenkins was a huge favorite in this. Let me go back to my picks. Yeah, minus 625. I think he closed at like minus 700 or close to that. I do these like 3 or 4 days before the fight, so the odds do change a little bit. But very big favorite. And, you know, he looked like it in there. He did a really good job. Next up, let's talk about Santos and Oneal. And this is just going to be real brief here. Oh, actually, Gavin Tucker is slated next for Jack Jenkins. That's who he called out. Doesn't look like a real active guy. I checked him out here. He lost to Diego Lopez, lost to Ige. So his 2 best opponents he lost to by finish. So maybe Jenkins is going to start another win streak here. He did beat Billy Q in a decision fight, but that was a long time ago, 4 years ago. So this dude is very inactive. A lot of canceled fights here. A lot of canceled fights. So who knows if we'll even see Jack Jenkins in there against him. But I hope we do, because he called for, I think, November, which would put it right around 3 or 4 months turnaround, which is what we want to see whenever we're looking at these younger guys. They need to stay active. They need to keep climbing to the top of the rankings. But let's check Casey Oneal after her victory. Bang! Go Casey. Go Casey. And that's the homage to the ray gun. I don't know if you guys were watching the Olympics, but that's a homage to Ray Gun from the Olympics. I thought that was pretty good. Personally, I thought that was funny. All right, let's go back to the chat here and see what we got going on with you guys. Let's see. How long will, what's up, Tom? Hey, MySpace Tom. Hello, my friend. Haven't seen you in a long time. How long will Herbert Burns' last name keep him in the UFC? One of the more pathetic showings I've seen in a while. I mean, I can't argue with you there. I mean, it wasn't a good performance by Herbert Burns. I try and be gracious and I try and be nice to these fighters, but I think what you're saying is I completely agree with. Man, I mean, you look at his record, he's really a middling guy. He hasn't really had success in a long time. I think the odds were correct, you know, plus 500 basically for Herbert. So I think that is pretty close, and it showed in the fight. I don't think Dana's gonna like that Noah Moss not being able to get up. Can y'all remember in recent memory thinking of that happening in the UFC, of someone not being able to stand up, or of the fight finishing without it being an actual TKO? Because I honestly can't recall that ever happening. I'm sure it has happened, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Rob Camp. What's up, Rob? Midnight has the rookie stamp. Okay, so that's another great point. He also has Midnight card. It's just a base, I believe, right, Rob? We're talking about Jack Jenkins here with the rookie stamp. But for me personally, as a collector, that's really important. I don't necessarily want to collect a rookie card unless it has the stamp, because a lot of times down the line, people will forget about that. Like people, their memories are so short, they forget what SSPs are. And if you're appealing to a broad spectrum, trying to sell to a lot of different people, you know, they're not going to know that that's a rookie card, and they may not bid on it, or they may not even engage in a sale because they don't know that it's a rookie card. So good point there from Rob. And what's up, Josh? Josh has another question. No more overlooking Kai. Yeah, dude, I actually picked City Kickboxing almost made me go 0-3 against them on my picks today, and I picked against Kai, and don't blink, man. And I blinked when I was picking them, and I messed up on that. I really thought that Erceg was going to be a little bit longer in his approach and was going to be a little bit more active. After seeing him with Pantoja, I really thought he had all the tools that he needs to really be a champion. And Kai's just too quick, dude. It's that simple. Too quick, too explosive. He fought a kind of a smart, measured game plan and didn't really explode until, you know, he felt comfortable, and they both kind of felt each other out there at the beginning. But really quick finish, big finish, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go back to the screen share, and we'll talk about the next matchup here. And the next matchup was Prates versus Leech, and this was a crazy fight, man. Absolutely crazy fight. I felt so bad for Leech. Leech I think he got stunned and like wobbled almost double-digit times in this fight. Almost double-digit times. Coming off a 2-year layoff, you know, he was set to fight Tony Ferguson, then he fought Dan Rodriguez, then he comes back against, you know, 30-year-old Carlos Prates, absolute Muay Thai stud, and decides to try and stand and bang with him the whole time. And I felt real bad for Leech. Prates is his straights look really good. That he's a southpaw, so that left straight coming down the pipe was just money. You could see him putting that feeler out, that jab hand, and then just dropping bombs with it. And he cracked Leech a bunch of times. And I got the finish here, and we'll watch that before we go any further.
Up the knockout.
He's measuring with the jab. Bang. Bang. Like he just threw it. Oh, Leech has his hands down too.
Oh my goodness. The Leech on the ropes, another left hand from Prates.
Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my goodness. Leech. Leech, no.
Another left hand from Prates.
Leech. Golly. Dear mother of God. Oh my, Leech. That one was crazy. That one was crazy, man. And Prates is real deal. Prates is real deal. And does he have what it takes to really move up in the division and really, you know, be upper echelon? I don't know. Personally, I don't know. But he did look good, and I would not be surprised if we see him in the rankings, right? He probably should be in the rankings here somewhat soon. One thing about Prates, he does look a little tiny for the division. I mean, I think he's 6 foot 6'1", and he's fighting at 170. He looks really lean. I think he needs to kind of get in the strength and conditioning and try and add a little bit of size to his frame, because visually Leech did look bigger than him by a decent amount as far as just bulk goes. Also, we saw basically no wrestling in this. So does Prates have the grappling that's necessary to really move up in the division and fight these really well-rounded guys that are at 170? That is yet to be seen. So for speaking of next matchups for Prates, let's look at the division and some potential matchups that Prates could have with this division. So we're in welterweight. So we've got Kevin Holland, MVP, Vicente Luque, No Magny, who has a fight coming up soon, and Buckley. So honestly, I kind of like a couple of these matchups. MVP would be fun. Definitely is going to be a striking match. Honestly, I might lean MVP in that just because of his really awkward style. I think he'd be slightly faster than Prates. Power, I would probably give to Prates. Kevin Holland is the one fighting soon. I'm surprised Magny's still in the rankings, honestly. He's going to be out within, I'd say, 2 more fights. He's going to be out. Jeff Neal would be a very tough fight for Prates. And that's what I'm talking about size-wise. Like, all these guys are big, really big. Luque is big. Buckley is huge. Jeff Neal is huge. Sean Brady, not very tall, but very big. And so in order for him to kind of get up into the upper echelon, I think he has the skills, but I do think that he needs to add a little bit of bulk to his frame in order to really succeed in this division. So we'll come back to the chat and see what's going down with you guys. Go ahead, drop me a like. And what did we get last time? I think we got like 12. I think we got 12 last time. So if you're watching, I appreciate you watching. Go ahead and hit that like button. And let's see if we can get 13. Lucky number 13 today. 13 likes. What do we got? Twizzy Rich. What up, Playboy? I've been telling everybody Kai France for months. I was so hyped yesterday. Dude, that was a really amazing finish, man. I was telling you y'all earlier, man. City Kickboxing, I almost went 0 for 3 against them. I thought for a second Izzy was gonna finish me off on my picks. I picked Erceg over Kai France. He proved me wrong, dude. He looked great. He looked great. Was able to really show that fast twitch and that power that he possesses, and really just flatline him. Let's see what else we got here. Thanks for stopping by, man. What kind of cigarettes does Prates smoke? Marlboro, man. Yeah, that's hilarious. And I mean, these guys are wild, right? These guys in the UFC are absolute wild men. They do whatever they want. They live a different life than us normal people, man. Like, to try and put yourself in that headspace is interesting. So I'm not surprised at all that this guy just puffs on cigs. But his cardio looked good. His cardio looked solid. No issues with the cardio. So maybe that's a PED. Maybe it's a secret weapon. Maybe it's a secret weapon, man. Maybe, watch, everybody's going to start puffing on some cigs now because of Prates. Oh, okay, we got a good matchup here. I like Prates versus Morales. If Morales can beat Magny, that would be good. Only issue with that, whenever I'm thinking of matchups, I don't like matching two potential stars in the future. I'm kind of the type where I like to get the gatekeepers out of the rankings, especially if they're at the tail end of their career. Magny, perfect example. Magny versus Morales. That's kind of my thought and my where my mind goes when I'm thinking about guys that are starting to bubble up in matchups in the future that I would want. You have kind of a guy that's aging out in Magny. You have a young stud in Morales that could potentially do something in the division. Prates is not really young. I think he's 30 or 31. So he's kind of right. Like, he needs to really be very active before he ages out. But I would think somebody in that kind of gatekeeper type realm, like the people we mentioned, like Luque would probably be the perfect name. Maybe Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy is too high in the rankings for him right now. But that definitely could be a potential option, and that would be a fun one. And talking about Prates being a little undersized for the division, Morales is huge for the division, so that would be an interesting one. All right, let's move on here to the next matchup. And poor Leech, man. Poor Leech. That was a sad one. Actually, before we move on, let me look at we'll show you guys some cards. And this was probably my favorite Leech card, and I really like it because of his auto here. Just a nice little inscription with the calligraphy. He has the Chinese flag, and he's doing a celebration, I'm guessing. And this is from 2022 Chronicles. This is the Contenders ticket. Contenders ticket. And the season tickets are pretty nice. Really simple design, but this is probably my favorite rookie card from the Leech. And as far as Prates goes, he is fighting with the Fighting Nerds. And dude, are they doing it? Are they in the new super camp? It really looks like it. I mean, you got Kaio's fighting soon. You got Jean Silva, who I think he broke both his hands, right, against Dober, which is insane to break both your hands and still win. Rufy's a stud, and then Prates gets the win last night and looks very impressive. So they're really doing a lot of damage here, and they're making a name for themselves. Love to see it. I love when gyms continue to have multiple fighters that are coming up together. And you see this a lot, honestly. You see this a lot, and I think it has to do with, we were talking about the mental side of combat sports and the mental side of fighting earlier. And I think that this is kind of the perfect example. Like, when you see your training partners having success and you train with them all the time, you just think, you get that like aura about you, and your self-confidence is so high seeing them get wins, and you know that you're doing what you need to do, and you kind of surge together. We saw it with, you know, the city kickboxing, when Izzy was champ, and all of them kind of rose together. And we're seeing it with the Fighting Nerds, you know, and it's been really fun. They have some entertaining guys, and we'll see what the future holds for that gym. Also, Prates does not have any cards, so he could potentially be a 2025 UFC card chase, or they put him in a product in 2024. We don't know, but could potentially be somebody to keep an eye on if you like him and his fighting style. Next up, we had Gamrot versus Hooker, and this was a great fight, man. What a slugfest. And I actually picked Gamrot to win here. I was really thinking that, I mean, me and the odds makers, obviously, because it was pretty favored in Gamrot's favor. I really thought Gamrot was going to be able to control Hooker on the ground. We saw Gamrot versus Jalen Turner, and Gamrot was able to grind. He was able to hold him down, rough him up a little bit, but really he won on control time, right? And that's what I thought was going to happen with Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. But Dan Hooker's that dude. Dan Hooker is that dude. And let me pull this one up for y'all. What? What? Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, you psycho, dude. You absolute psycho. Middle of the fight, Gamrot has smashed him multiple times. He's cut 5 different places on his face, his eyes swelling shut, and this guy's laughing like the Joker. Tatted Dan Hooker is a problem, man. Tatted Dan Hooker is a problem. And his powers are growing exponentially. If we can see full body tattoo Dan Hooker, he's going to be the heavyweight champ. When he comes back next fight and his whole entire body is full of tattoos, there's 0 person in the world that can stop Dan Hooker. He's absorbing the life force like a spirit bomb. Anytime he gets a tattoo, it's like a spirit bomb, and he's absorbing the life force of the earth, getting it inside his body with the tattoos, and he's going to be unstoppable. He's going to start shooting laser beams and shooting Kamehameha waves or Hadoukens in the octagon if he continues to get tattoos. Honestly, this might be a global threat, and maybe the government needs to get involved in order to hold Dan Hooker from becoming unstoppable. We could have a Homelander situation on our hands right now if we don't stop Dan Hooker from getting more tattoos, because he's going to be unstoppable. And and Dan Hooker is freaking crazy, dude. He's the Joker. He's the Joker. And what's next for Dan Hooker now? Because he just moved very high in the rankings. Gamrot was number 5 in the rankings, and Hooker is going to be top 5 in the rankings, I would imagine. Man, we got some fun matchups for Dan Hooker now. We could go Dustin Poirier. We could go Gaethje versus Hooker, would be crazy. We get the rematch with Poirier. I know he wants to run that one back. Michael Chandler versus Hooker would be insane. Dude, what do y'all want to see from Dan Hooker? I'm going to go back to the comments here, because that was, I mean, dude. We could have anything for Dan Hooker. What's up, y'all? What's up, everybody watching? Let's see. Chris Curtis pulled out. Okay, we're talking about Prates. Buckley's a good match for both. Yeah. Okay, still talking about Prates. But man, I really liked that fight. And Dan Hooker's the man. Win or lose, this guy's gonna go out there. He's gonna fight his hardest, and he's really gonna show out for the crowd. And he's gonna fight his heart out, man. Win or lose, broken arms, broken face, doesn't matter. Dan Hooker, he's a real one. He's a real one. If you're out there and you're watching, go ahead and give this a thumbs up. Trying to get to 13 today. Trying to get to 13 likes today. Let's go back to screen share, and we'll talk about next matchup here. Oh, let's talk about this. I had this Gamrot Rainbow. Just some woes of trying to sell cards. So I had this Gamrot Rainbow up, right? And I'm thinking, you know, Gamrot's favored. I could see him wrestling, controlling Hooker. I really think I can sell this. I really think I can wait till after the fight. Gamrot wins, maximize my value. It's a rainbow, pretty good. We got of 60, we got of 25, we got of 199, I think, on the maroon. Pretty solid rainbow, rookie card, really sought after if you're trying to collect Gamrot. Guy offers me $80. I wanted close to 100, probably 90 plus was kind of where I wanted to be on it. So I say, nah, I think Gamrot's gonna win. I'm gonna pass on the 80. Gamrot loses. Now I don't even know if I can sell these. So I'll let that, you know, be a lesson to anybody who's trying to move cards. If you can get rid of it before the fight, you know, if you hold it, you're really risking it not panning out. You're risking it not working out in your favor. And now I don't know if I can even sell these at all. So definitely take what you can get is the lesson I learned on this one. And I mean, Gamrot did look solid, honestly. He didn't look terrible. I think that he has, you know, a future in the division, and a lot of his fights have been boring, to be quite honest. And I'm a Gamrot fan. I enjoy his grappling, his wrestling. I like his scrambles, but he really put on an entertaining fight tonight, and it takes two people to tango, and he was game, and he hit Hooker with some big shots, and his boxing actually looked pretty decent. I think in this, I think he should have tried to kind of keep it on the feet a little more. He honestly had really good success in round 2 with being a little bit quicker in his footwork, and he was really stepping outside of Hooker and really tagging him on the exits, which was surprising. But Hooker, with the continual forward pressure and walking him down, really kind of paid dividends later on. And you could see Gamrot looked pretty uncomfortable in round 3 on the stand-up, and he was really just kind of diving for takedowns, trying to get out of the line of fire, if you will. And really trying to get more into his area where he's most comfortable, which is grappling and wrestling, obviously. And Dan Hooker's defense on the takedowns was amazing. I mean, he had like 3 or 4 guillotines that he tried, and one of them was pretty deep, and Gamrot had to do that like gator roll to get out, which was impressive on both accounts. But Dan Hooker really looked really well-rounded, and a great fight for him, man. All right, next up, we're talking about Kai Kara-France. Kai Kara-France. And I picked Erceg again at City Kickboxing. Got me twice in a row, dude. Bang, bang. I was wrong on both of these. And I thought Erceg was going to be a little bit more... I thought he was going to be a little bit more tactical, and I thought he was going to be a little bit more smarter. I thought this fight was going to go longer. But Kai Kara-France said, nah, I'll just knock him out. How about that? I'll just knock him out early. How about that, Zach? How does that work for your picks? I'll just smash him in the first round. And he did just that. We'll go back to the chat for a second. See if there's anybody out there. What's up, everybody? What up, Manny? Hooker called out Connor. Why not? Dude, if you win, call out Connor. What's the worst that can happen, right? Stylistically, though, that's a really fun fight. Hooker versus Connor would be a really fun fight. And Connor wants none of that, I think. I don't think Connor wants none of that. You're talking about tattooed Hooker. We've got a Homelander situation on our hands. Tattooed Hooker is a global threat, and if he gets any more tattoos, he will take over the world. He will win every single belt. He will even win the women's belt somehow. And we really need to look out for full body tattooed Hooker, because his powers are growing exponentially by the second. But yeah, that was probably my favorite fight of the night, honestly. I really enjoyed that Gamrot and Hooker fight. What's up, Manny? Thanks for stopping by, man. Go ahead and, if you're watching, give us a thumbs up. We're trying to get to 13 today. We got to 12 last time. You know, just trying to improve, trying to be a little bit better every time. So let's see if we can get to 13. I appreciate anybody out there watching. Go ahead and drop some comments in the chat. We'll be moving on to Kai Kara-France next. So if you want to talk about Kai Kara-France, go ahead and drop that now. But yeah, Kai Kara-France really had a good performance. We'll go ahead and switch to screen share, and we'll watch this finish.
Cause early.
It's smart because Erceg's a longer guy. It'd be hard for him to chase down his head. So he starts trying to get him to drop his hands by going to the body.
Oh.
Overhand
Oh.
left.
Hands by going to the body.
Oh.
Hands by going to the body. Hands.
All right,
by
look at
going
it.
to
Look
the
at where his hands are. This is, you see this a lot. I saw Izzy do this a couple times too, and it scared me in the fight. Whenever you're backing up a straight line like that, his chin's super high in the air and his right hand is super low. That's why they always tell you to circle off, right? And I understand these dudes are as good as it gets. But Erceg did this a couple times earlier, and he was evading the range well. But I think Kai made a really good decision and a really good read to just continue to rush forward and launch one, because I bet he saw that Erceg continued to exit straight back and he continued to rely on his footwork and his speed. But you know, if you run somebody down and your chin's high up in the air like that, bang, that's gonna happen.
An overhand left connected. Left for Kai counter fronts. The fourth time he threw that combo, it connected. Erceg on wobbly legs. Man, he's got him hurt bad. Oh, he floors him.
Really good finish. Really good finish, man. And then Kai does the peel the head back. Every time he did that, it reminded me of Beetlejuice. I don't know if y'all have seen Beetlejuice, but there's a scene in that when Beetlejuice like mangles his face all crazy to scare the family, and anytime Kai France was doing that, it reminded me of Beetlejuice, and I thought it was hilarious. Let's see what we got. Conor would accept just to pull out 2 years from now from Tom. Talking about Hooker's call out. probably, man. I mean, Conor, I don't think he's ever gonna fight again, honestly. I think that Conor is completely out of it. He's only doing this now for name relevance and to keep his head and to keep people's attention. That's the only reason he's even anywhere remotely near the UFC right now. And it's evident by him partying with you know, Sturgis people and getting danced on by little women. I don't know what the correct term is for him, but yeah, man, Conor is out. Conor's out. I don't think he's ever coming back. And maybe it's for good, right? Maybe it's for good. Maybe we get one more in 2 years, but I'm not holding my breath anymore. There for a while, I really thought that he was going to come back and maybe he could have a fun fight with Chandler, but I'm completely out on him ever fighting again in the UFC. And what do y'all think? Do you think Conor's ever going to come back? I had a bunch of cards of Conor that I wanted to sell, but I may not be able to at this point because he's just, you know, he's doing everything but trying to fight. But honestly, I can't blame the guy. He's got $68 gajillion. Like, why are you trying to risk having this happen to you? You know, why are you trying to risk getting flatlined in front of thousands of people when you can just be comfortable with your family and on a yacht? But if that's how you feel, why are you telling everybody you want to fight? You know, like, just keep it real with everybody. Conor, keep it real, man. Let's see. It's good for his liquor sales. Exactly, right? Like, I really think it's just publicity. He probably makes decent money every time he tweets and you know, on social media. So maybe that's why he continues to try and stay in the limelight. But who knows? All right, if you're out there, give us a thumbs up. We're at 6. Want to try to get to 13 potentially? Can we get to 13 potentially? All right, next up, what's next for Kai, man? Let's talk about that. What's next for Kai France? And he's super high in the rankings. What do we want to see for Kai France? I mean, he's basically fought all these guys already. So we're kind of starting to get into this division is known for this, man, where it's like all these guys have kind of really been getting busy with each other. The only new blood we really have is Tyra, and Albazi still hasn't got his title shot with Pantoja. I would expect that maybe that's next. But now if you're Kai France, maybe you want that rematch against, you know, maybe you call for that. He definitely should. He definitely should. And, you know, there's an argument to be made there that maybe he deserves that. The Albazi fight was really close, but Albazi did win, and he's been sitting around for a while, so maybe he's next. What do you guys think is next for Kai France? You know, this division, really a lot of names that you could match up, and it's kind of like you could make an argument for a lot of these guys that they deserve it. Make an argument for a lot of these guys that you deserve it. And honestly, Erceg at 7 I thought was odd. I didn't realize he was at 7 because he just had a really close fight with Pantoja, the champ. And I realized he was really deep in the rankings whenever he took that. But to basically, you know, some people thought that Erceg won that. Some people thought that Steve Erceg beat the champion Alexandre Pantoja in that fight. I'm surprised he wasn't a little bit further up the rankings. We got Tyra sitting at 5, really, you know, the only real new blood in this division. Everyone else has kind of been here for a while, and Albazi's been slowly working his way up for a long time. I'd be surprised if he's not next for a title shot. But you never know, man. It's all politics, as we see with the next thing we're talking about with the middleweight division. Like, if you're Sean Strickland, are you the most deserving person for a title shot? Dana's already said he's going to get one. So it's really a lot of it's politics, right? So you never know. You never know how it's going to play out. They do whatever they want. Let's see. Manny says, scary little guy. He is, dude. Ah! Like, that's... to me, it's funny, but, like, if he was in your face trying to fight you, that probably would be scary. His size, honestly, makes it scarier. What is he, like, 5'5"? Like, he's right here in your face doing that. Like, that's pretty scary, honestly. Would like to see Poirier 3-1 him. We're talking about Hooker, I'm guessing. Hooker matchup. And title shot for Kai next. I could see it. I could definitely see it. Give Kai Pantoja. Pantoja mops forward with Kai. Should be fun. What's next for Erceg? You think he just got caught? Man, I don't know. Erceg, I really thought that Erceg was going to be a little bit busier. I mean, I know he's kind of a high IQ, likes to be limited and composed in his fights, but it just seemed like he was the distance management. It seemed like he had Kai where he wanted him, and it looked like he could have landed long, straight shots if he wanted to, a lot of jabs, and throw the straights in there early on. But I think he was kind of just waiting, trying to get that big left hook off because he has a great left hook. But you never know, man. What flyweight is a box of gerbils crawling all. Not enough new blood. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crabs in a bucket at this point, right? Like, we're going to see a lot of rematches. I mean, this is the division that gave us Figgy versus Moreno basically 3 times in a row, right? Which were all, I mean, they were good fights, but, like, if you keep getting the same fights over and over, it does kind of tend to become stale. And tough division, a lot of good guys, a lot of tough matchups, but you know, it's kind of the same names over and over again. So we basically got Kai or Albazi for a title shot, in my opinion. If you're watching, go ahead, give this a like. Trying to get to 13. Let's get some fire truck emojis in the chat. I got to go on shift today. I'm going to the firehouse. That's what I do for a living. That's why I'm in here early today trying to talk with you guys about the fights. But we'll move on right now, and we're going to move on to the main event. And everybody knows what it was and what it is, and it was DDP versus Izzy. I picked DDP to win, but I wanted Izzy to win. I really have enjoyed Izzy's run as a champion. I really like his style. I think his kickboxing fundamentals are great. His techniques are great. He really has star power. But I just thought that Dricus was going to be really tricky for him, especially coming off the loss to Strickland. And how unorthodox Dricus is, he doesn't look that great, but like he gets it done, and he has real power in his hands. He really hurt Izzy a couple times with some of that, and yeah, man, I was hoping that Izzy would be able to get it done. And when I saw this, look at this, guys. I saw this and I thought Black Magic Izzy, dude. Black Magic Izzy. He's got the magic wand right here, the little feather duster mop thing. And this was him walking in with the feather duster, and I thought Black Magic Izzy, he might pull this off tonight. Maybe I was wrong with my pick. Maybe he's gonna pull it off. Black Magic Izzy coming in, and he's just ready with the magic wand to cast a spell, cast a feather, throw some dust in DDP's eyes. But Izzy, as we know now, Izzy was not able to hold him off, and we'll watch the finish here for a second.
Hurt him with that one bad. Right on the side.
Dude, how like look at DDP's, he's so crazy with his fight style, man. It's insane.
Oh, Izzy said no, standing fight now.
Little Max Holloway downward point, big right hand. 3 in a row for Duplessis. And now drags Adesanya down. Straight to throwing one hook in. Let's see.
And this was quick. He went to that palm to palm. Quick. DDP's the champ, man. DDP's the champ. And he's good. That guy's good. He's good. But I was surprised at how well Izzy did in the stand-up. I honestly thought that the blitz style would be a little bit more effective, and DDP did have times where he caught him, but he looked pretty sharp. Oh man, he was tagging him to the body, and I think that's really a recipe to beat DDP. I really think he unlocked a big code with that. DDP has that high shell, right? That high guard, and those body shots were wide open, and Izzy was tagging him with it, really tagging him with it. And also, Izzy, his cage wrestling looked very good. I think that's the most, maybe besides the Jan Blachowicz fight, but obviously that was in 205, so I don't know if we can really count that display of grappling. But Izzy's grappling looked pretty dang good. I mean, he had one shot that was like picture perfect where he sprawled and basically went airborne, blocking DDP from getting to his legs. I was pretty impressed with Izzy's wrestling, and I thought that DDP would have more success with the wrestling. I mean, obviously he did because he was able to get him down and choke him. But I thought that Izzy put up a lot of resistance that I wasn't expecting. We'll go back to the chat before we talk about some cards. What do you guys think of the DDP in the main event? Thanks for your service. Oh yeah, no problem, man. It's a job just like anything else. It's definitely an unorthodox job, a high stress job, but you know, you're going into work, you're helping people out, you know, just like any other job, really. What's up, Brett? Whoa, 14 people watching. We got 14 people watching and only 6 likes? Come on now. What the hell is that, y'all? What the hell is that? We got 16 people watching and only 6 likes. Hit that thumbs up button, please. Please give me, hit that thumbs up button, man. What are we doing around here? 6 likes, that's it? But yeah, man, Dricus is the champ, and we'll go ahead and we'll talk about some of his cards. And this is probably my favorite of his cards, this 2022 Select Rookie Mezzanine. And really good design. It's just him doing a Ric Flair. Woo! I'm guessing that's what he's doing in this image. But this is just an example of the design from the 2022 Select. He does have a 2022 Prism, but it is horizontal. He also has a 2022 Octagon side, but I think that the image is not quite as good as this, especially with his flag in the background. And before the fight, you know, pretty reasonable, honestly, on the price with $199. You're talking about a guy that is 2-time title, you know, had his first defense ever and looked pretty good against Izzy. So you could definitely get into DDP for relatively cheap. You could get into DDP for relatively cheap right now. And UFC middleweight champ, we got him as our champ, man. We got him as our champ right now. And who are we getting next? That's kind of the big question for me here, because you could definitely go multiple different ways here. Who are we getting next for this middleweight title? Who are we getting next for this middleweight title shot? In the chat, please let me know who do you guys want to see, because there's multiple different options that we're going to talk about, multiple different paths that we could take to get to another title shot here and another championship fight at middleweight with multiple different faces. Who do you guys want to see and why? And we'll talk about that right now. Personally, I want to see the winner of Whitaker and Hamzat, but we'll see. What up, Albino? Thank you for smashing that like button, dude. We're trying to get to 13 likes. We're at 8. All right, thank you guys. Austin says, sorry, still waking up. Me too, man. Yeah, that was a late fight night. That's why I'm excited for this new TV deal that the UFC is doing, because honestly, I want more fights that are not at 12:30 in the morning. Please. I'm trying to get my sleep, man. I'm trying to get my sleep. I'm already sleep deprived sometimes because of work. When I'm at home, I just want to watch the fights and go to bed at a reasonable time. Is that too much to ask? Dana, is that too much to ask? Put it on like NBA, put it on like NFL, 8:30, 9:30. Maybe speed up the in-between times of the fights and let us get some shut-eye, dude. Let us get some shut-eye. But thanks for liking. Thanks for joining, Austin. Let's see. Manny, I thought Izzy looked great, 9 out of 10. Great body work, however, defensively is where he lacked his usual dominance. Poatan coming back down to 185. Is he coming back down to 185? So that's thank you for mentioning this, and we'll go back to the screen share here, and we'll talk about what is next for this division. What is next? And I got it queued up, man. We got the Chama, the 205 champ, former 185 champion, Alex Pereira, looking scary with the hair, and he's watching the fights. And I bet Alex is. You know why Alex looks like this, honestly? Because it's too late, Dana White. Give us a card earlier, please. Please. With a TV rights deal. Put it on normal TV or something and put it at a normal time. But Sleepy Alex Chama is, you know, saying he wants to come back down to 185 one more time. When is he planning on doing this? Because we have Khalil Roundtree and Alex Pereira already booked up. Some say it's the most undeserving title shot of all time, with Roundtree getting that. Do I disagree? No, I don't disagree, because we just saw Steve Erceg, who was like not the 9th ranked, jump all those people to get a title shot. And this division is way more sparse than that flyweight division. So I would say it's not the most undeserving title shot of all time, but you could argue it. I definitely agree you could argue it. But we got Pereira, DDP. I think that would be a long layoff for DDP, and he does seem to be the guy that likes to fight somewhat often. I know he's had a ton of fights within his UFC run so far, within a somewhat short period. I don't think he's going to want to be on the shelf that long. We already know that Dana has verbally said he wants Strickland next in the title shot, which is so weird. Why does Dana do that? I don't understand why he does that. Let the Whittaker-Hamzat fight play out, and then you decide what you want to do, right? Because if you verbally commit to Strickland already, like he did with Colby a long time ago, you're not letting the narrative play out correctly, and you're not really letting the storylines play out that you could push further. Because if Hamzat wins and he absolutely murders Whittaker, like, that's a great fight to make. Hamzat's a big name. People love him and hate him. A lot more hate him now, but that would do great buzz. If Whittaker wins, it's not necessarily as compelling because we already saw him and DDP. So I understand that one. I think that having Strickland in there in a rematch would probably be more compelling than Whittaker. But you also got to think Whittaker just had that knockout of Ikram Aliskerov, an amazing knockout. He beat Paulo Costa, who Strickland just beat. And if he beats Whittaker, dude, or if he beats Hamzat, that's like crazy, the resume versus what Strickland has done since they last fought. And I understand it's not necessarily the same timeline-wise, but still, I don't get it. Tom, I'm still drunk from last night. Albino, same. Whittaker if he beats Khamzat. Sean if Whittaker loses. What if Hamzat wins? What if Hamzat wins? What do y'all think about that? Let's see. Fight start at 6:30. Whoa, that is early. Where are you from? I don't know. I don't know what I would rather prefer. Waking up at 6:30 for the main card, or staying up till 12:30 for the main card. That's about a similar amount of sleep disturbance, so I don't know how I feel about that. Albino freaking partying. Dana's been off his game lately. Yeah. It's okay. So me and Maddie Mac had a conversation about this a while back, and it was I kind of want to make a video topic about this, and it's basically that. And I don't know how if this is a hot take or not, but at this point in time, I honestly think Dana White is holding the UFC back from continuing to grow, continuing to become a more mainstream organization, and continuing to really push themselves into mainstream sports. And I think that they're doing that. I think that he's doing that in multiple ways. Like you just said, he always seems to be he's everywhere. He's doing 15 things at once. He said, that's up to my matchmakers. And then he'll just say, oh, Strickland's getting a title shot. He's kind of conflicting in his messages sometimes, and I don't think that that's good for the company. I don't think that that's good for the growth of the UFC. That's obviously not good for us who collect UFC cards, if you're watching and you collect UFC cards. So I kind of think Dana White needs to either stick to one thing, not do Power Slap, not do Contender Series, not do the Ultimate Fighter, like not show up to every pay-per-view, and just kind of limit his role in the company. Or does he just quit altogether? I don't necessarily want him to quit. I think he's a good figurehead. I think he's to be continue to be more of a spokesman for the UFC. But for him on the inner workings, I think he's kind of hurting the company at this point. And maybe that's a hot take. All right, we got eight thumbs. We got 8 thumbs. We need to let's try and get 13 thumbs here, y'all. Let's try and get 13 thumbs. So we've got Alex Pereira potentially next, and we've also got Whittaker Chimaev next. And let's go to the rankings and let's see what makes sense. Let's see what makes the most sense here at middleweight. I mean, Khamzat still does not have a middleweight win, which is hilarious to me. Khamzat does not have a middleweight win. He fought, in my opinion, he fought Kamaru Usman, a lifetime 170-er, and edged out a very close decision. Great fight. Edged out a very close decision against Kamaru Usman, who stepped up late notice, which understandably that also does affect Khamzat Chimaev negatively. But he's at number 11. He's at number 11. So if he beats Whittaker at 3, does he deserve a title shot? Does he? Does he really? I mean, body of work, no, right? Body of work doesn't really make sense. But narrative-wise, I think that's a pretty fun fight to make. You're going to capitalize on the craziness of Khamzat. It will probably be a crazy fight, but we know that Khamzat's pretty unreliable also. I mean, he's multiple issues with weight cuts, multiple pullouts. He is at 185 now, but even his last fight at 185, you know, got canceled. So he's kind of a liability. So maybe they don't push him. Maybe they don't push him. Definitely Robert Whittaker, if he wins, has a great argument to make. And we also have Dana White coming out saying that Sean Strickland is next for a title shot. Sean Strickland and DDP already had a really close fight. So what are y'all's thoughts out there? What is next for the middleweight division? What fight are we making? What fight are we making here and why? 6:30 in Perth. Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that early for them. Main events 11th. Can't imagine being on the East Coast. Yeah, man. It's just too early. It's too early, and I think they probably get better viewership if they had the fights at a more reasonable time, honestly. That's just my opinion, though. I think some people like to, like Tom was saying in Albino, you know, some people like to make a party out of it and drink all that and whatnot, but you never know. No title shot for Khamzat. He has one fight in the division and it is one of the most unreliable fighters in UFC history. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you even count that one fight, right? Do we count Kamaru Usman, a lifetime 170, or coming up on short notice as a fight in middleweight? Honestly, I don't really think that's a middleweight fight. I mean, technically it is because it happened in middleweight, but that's not a real win from a real middleweight. That's a lifetime 170-er who is, I wouldn't even say he's that huge for the division at 170. I mean, his frame is not, his actual height is only, he's just like 5'11", 6 foot, so he's not huge. But for Khamzat to really struggle on short notice against Usman, I would be surprised if he was able to really dominate physically like he has done with the grappling with these guys at 185. And that's why I really wanted to see the Whittaker versus Khamzat last time before Khamzat pulled out, because I want to see how he handles the strength and physicality of people that are lifetime 185ers, because those dudes are big and they're walking around at 200 plus. And Khamzat is not necessarily known for his technique. I mean, he's a good wrestler, but he's known for explosion. He's known for tenacity. He's known for getting after people physically and really manhandling and ragdolling people. And that burns up a lot of energy. And if you're trying that same style at 185 against these guys that can physically match you with that power and, you know, with that size, I don't know how that's going to play out. And I really hope that Khamzat and Whittaker make it to the octagon, because I think that's a really good matchup stylistically. I think it would be fun. I think the pace would be wild. And I want to see what Khamzat can actually do against a 185 guy that's a natural 185er. Like, the question still has not been answered, and it's been, what, 6 months or whatever, a year probably since Khamzat was saying that he wanted to move up to 185. Hit that like button. We got 9 viewers. What's up, y'all? Thanks everybody for watching this morning. I'm about to head off to work. We've got a couple more minutes to talk, and then I'll be signing out. But thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't. We're trying to beat 12 likes this stream. We're at 9. We're close. I can smell it. I can smell the 13 likes right now. Go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't. Let's see. He can't fight anywhere but Middle East because the rest of the world refused to let him in their countries. Yeah, I don't know. Is that true? I don't know if that's true or not. I know that he generally fights over there, but power slap, Jones, Stipe, Aspinall situation would be black eye on Dana's legacy. The power slap is so silly, man. I don't understand how this is still a thing. Like, why why is he? I don't understand why he's doing this. You're on the precipice of. I understand he likes to like build companies. He's a businessman and all that, but like you have one of the biggest sports organizations in the world, you know, and it's still budding and still growing. Like, why are you not putting more of your resources into really getting this to the next level and really taking it into mainstream? Maybe he kind of thinks it's already there. I don't know, but there's still so many people that have no idea what's going on within the world of UFC and within the world of MMA, and I don't believe that it's even anywhere close to the how big it should be. I think it should be just like the NBA, just like the NFL. People of all over the world should be talking about, you know, just at water cooler talk at work, you know, chit chat, what's happening within the UFC, and people should be real excited about this, and it's not like that yet. And I think Dana needs to do, you know, a better job of maybe making it a little more professionalism. Maybe would help get some more younger kids into it, and people would think less of, you know, the organization if people aren't acting as wild in post-fight interviews. The UFC is really the only organization where people can do that. And there's wild men in the NFL. Those guys are absolutely nuts, and they can't do really anything like that. Let's see what we got from Tom. I think UFC fighters compete with each other with 20% revenue, while NBA, MLB, and NFL players are collecting 50% as another black eye. Oh, of course. Of course. And this is one of the things that has to change, right? Like when you're talking about things that have to change in the UFC, fighter pay is very top of the list for me in order for this organization to really take its step into the next level. Like there's, you know, I train down the road at a gym, and there's people that are amateur fighters trying to be pro, and they're looking at, you know, professional athletes that are training, you know, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And they're looking at when they get to basically the highest level, they're going to go to the UFC, right? They keep training hard. They make it to the highest level. They finally made it to the league that they love, doing what they love and the sport that they love. The biggest you can get, the biggest stage, and they're going to be getting 12-12 on their first fight. $24,000 on their first fight. Like, that's insane. There needs to be some type of maybe base pay for these guys that contractually per year you get paid this amount if you fight once. What that number is, who knows? But it's not 24,000 is crazy, man. Also, the show money and win money to me has always been weird. Like, these guys, they're not going to fight any harder. We had Whitaker already make a statement about this. They're not going to fight any harder if you have a bonus attached to it. They're literally fighting to survive in there. That has no tangible benefit for them being able to fight harder. So it's really kind of a goofy thing in my opinion. All right, we are at 9 likes. We need 3 more. Please, 3 likes. We can get it. We can get it. They've created the perfect bracket for themselves. Can't start a union. 90% of these guys couldn't afford to hold out. Yeah, I mean, it's going to have some type of congressional or government intervention, I would imagine, kind of like how the Ali Act happened, because willfully as a company, you're not just going to pay your employees way more, right? It doesn't necessarily make sense capitalism wise, and they're not just going to make a decision based on what's best for them. They're going to make a decision based on what's best for themselves and self-interest. Thanks for hanging out this morning, y'all. Really fun main event last night. Let me see. Oh, we can talk about my my picks overall though. Yo, 11-6? That's not bad. 11-6 is not bad. Whenever I make these picks, I'm hoping to bare bones get 50% right. And now if you look at the odds, if I would have bet here, I'm not getting much money back on Prates. I'm definitely not getting much money back on Jenkins. Getting a little bit of a payout here on Dricus, but that's basically a coin flip here. So not the greatest weekend for me, but 11-6, solid record to continue to get better and continue to see what happens here. But thanks for hanging out, y'all. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We got 9 likes. Can we get to 13 before I sign off? I got like 3 more minutes until I got to go to work. Can we get to 13? We're at 9. But I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging. Man, really fun fight night. What did y'all think about the fight night as a whole? I thought as a whole it was pretty decent. Bam Bam versus Rosenstruck was basically what I thought it was going to be, honestly. It was a little bit of it wasn't like super boring, but I mean, the heavyweights are always kind of like that. You never know what you're going to get with them. They tend to have to conserve the energy because of cardio, and sometimes it's not the most exciting fights. Definitely not the most technical fights, but they are big, right? They're big and they hit hard. And, you know, we saw some decent storylines play out. The Pereira coming back down to 185, I think, is the biggest storyline from last night. Oh, what's next for Izzy? We didn't even talk about that. What's next for Izzy, man? We definitely have to talk about the former champ. So Izzy loses in a tough fight with DDP. Look pretty good in my opinion. He definitely is not washed. He still has, I think he can still hang with a lot of these guys. The issue with Izzy is he's basically fought, he hasn't fought Imavov, but he's literally fought almost everyone. He's basically almost fought everyone within, he hasn't fought Allen, hasn't fought Imavov. I mean, but pretty much everybody around him he's already fought. So maybe he fights the loser of Whitaker and Hamzat. Maybe he fights winner of the Brendan Allen fight. Like, you know, there's some storylines that could be made for Izzy. He's still a pretty big star. I mean, we saw. If you guys were in the comments, there's a lot of Izzy fans still. A ton of Izzy haters still, which is equally as important in my opinion. And so he still creates a lot of buzz in the sport. You know, longtime champion, fan favorite, very active too. I'm glad that people are giving Izzy their flowers, or giving him his flowers as far as being an active champion, because we've seen what can happen with some of these guys, man. And it can be a long time. It could be a long time in between their fights. I'm part of the problem. I complain about fighter pay and steal pay-per-views in the same breath. I'm broke. Don't have a snow machine at my vacation. I'm in Vegas. Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I hear you. Also, I think the pay-per-view model is outdated, man. Pay-per-view model is outdated. That's another thing that has to change. It needs to be like how it is on ESPN Plus with the fight nights. I think it should be like that for pay-per-views as well. I think they need to just up the payment per month. Like what is it on ESPN Plus? It's like they need to have a specific UFC area that has every single UFC fight, and they need to up it to like 30 or 40 bucks a month. And I think that almost everyone would do that, and it would be so much cheaper than a pay-per-view. You would get so much more value. You could get all the UFC content. You could get Tough. You could get, you know, Fury FC and those smaller local shows as well. They have submission grappling events that you could put on there. I think they need to bundle it, and it'd be kind of like a league pass for NBA, or like a Sunday ticket for the NFL, where you pay a specific fee maybe per year or a specific fee per month, and it just has all the content on it. I really think that's what they should do. Are you making more money with the pay-per-view model? I just can't imagine that they're making more money with the pay-per-view model, because they're pushing so many people to try and go outside sources and try and be pirates, you know? But that's just my opinion, man. Lifetime Sphere card on Independence Day. They could have waited until July 4th and would have been stacked. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that the the Sphere card is pretty lackluster. Honestly, I was looking at some future events coming up when I was doing all this, and it's not looking good for us, y'all. It's not looking good for us. A lot of future events seem pretty snoozy. We got some good matchups sprinkled in there, but as far as like cohesive, you know, good top to bottom, it doesn't look that great. But got some good storylines coming up. Got some big fights still, you know. Definitely got some big fights, but there's definitely going to be some lackluster cards in between as well. We got 11 likes. Can we get 2 more? 2 more and we will have beaten the previous high of 12. We're so close. So close. Go ahead, take the second to hit that like button. It helps me out. Helps me out, and if we can get to 13 likes, it will be a successful stream. It will be a title defense. If we can get to 13 likes, Box Alarm Trading will have a title defense. Albino agrees with the sentiment of trying to have some type of a analogous UFC to a Sunday ticket or to an NBA League Pass. What are we going to call it for UFC? The strike zone. I don't know, the strike zone, something like that. But it would be much more easier for everyone. It'd be easier for the viewers. Oh, we're at 12. One more like, and we've defended the title. Can we defend the title this week? If we get one more like, the Box Alarm Trading channel will have defended the welterweight title. I'm cutting a little bit. I walk around like 180. I'll cut to welterweight and I'll battle the YouTube trolls. Can we get the title with 13 likes for this week? Gotta defend it. Gotta defend it. We got Holloway versus Topuria, Pereira, Roundtree. What I'm most looking forward to, dude. Max versus Ilia is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for Max versus Ilia, honestly. And that's a tough one stylistically for me to think of who's gonna win, because we saw Jai Herbert give Ilia some problems. And Jai Herbert looks very similar to Max's build, and they fight kind of similar as well with long weapons. My only issue is Holloway will trade in the pocket, and he's not reckless. Like, he's pretty defensively sound in the pocket, but you're playing with fire whenever you're trading in the pocket with Ilia Topuria. He has dynamite in his hands. I think he's a better boxer than Max Holloway too. I think his fundamentals are a little bit better. I think he hits harder. His head, I think defensively he's a little bit better. Now, who's a better MMA striker? Probably Holloway with the kicks. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. Ilia really never kicks at all. Will we see Topuria pull out some wrestling and try and grapple with Max? Because Topuria is a very underrated wrestler. He really hasn't had to use that much. He used it a little bit against Bryce Mitchell, but honestly, he's just been smacking people around with his fists. So I'm very excited for that matchup as well. One more like. We got to get one more like to retain the welterweight belt, the welterweight live stream YouTube belt. Who against YouTube? I don't know who. No, we're competing against ourselves. So we need one more like. I'd appreciate that. Before I sign off, we got one more here. Roundtree getting the title shot. Man, again, I'm not going to say it's the most undeserving title shot of all time, but I do think that you could definitely make an argument for it, right? I mean, Roundtree has looked really good the last couple fights, and I think stylistically this will be a fun fight with him and Pereira. Roundtree is an absolute tank. He hits super hard. He does have knockout power, and he does have the power to put Poatan's lights out. Now, I think the question is going to be, is he going to be able to handle the long rangey weapons? Is he going to be able to do the fundamentals and check the kicks that we saw Yuri has absolutely no idea how to do? So I think it's going to be a tough fight for Roundtree, but I do think that he does have a chance. What would I guess the odds are on that? I'd probably say negative 300 something for Poatan, and maybe like plus 275, plus 300. We got 13 likes. Boom. Thank you, whoever did that. We finally got it. We beat last week's total. So I appreciate y'all for coming out and watching and hitting the likes. But yeah, I'm not going to completely write Khalil Roundtree off as maybe having a chance to do something here, but it's definitely going to be heavily favored in Alex Pereira. I mean, the height differential and the reach differential is going to be pretty crazy. I think the rangy weapons has to go to Alex. The knockout power, dude, the knockout power, who has more knockout power, Roundtree or Alex? I mean, we've seen Roundtree absolutely sleep people unconscious, but I mean, you can't say anybody has more power than Poatan, right? He's like one of the heaviest handed strikers in the UFC. So I'm not sure who I'd give more power to, but who's more well-rounded? I mean, we haven't seen Alex really do anything on the ground, so you'd have to go Roundtree maybe on that. I don't know. But yeah, man. But we'll see. Tom, I think you're talking about Magomed Ankalaev, and he's already set to fight. He's already set to fight and booked to fight, which when you're talking about people that deservingly probably should have gotten the title shot, it should have been Magomed Ankalaev. And I'm really surprised that they didn't give it to Ankalaev. Are they protecting Alex Pereira? I don't think protecting is the right word, but I do think that they realize that they can maximize a lot of money with having Pereira be the face of the UFC. He's beloved by everyone. He has a really exciting style. He never looks to grapple, really. He always looks to finish fights. He's got the look. He's got the marketing. And I think by them getting another fight with Alex Pereira against Roundtree is kind of just a good money move. And then maybe after this, okay, so let's look at the future of the 205, actually. I didn't think about this. Poatan fights Roundtree. If he wins, he's still 205 champ. Then he drops down. He says he wants to fight Dricus. Then he drops down and fights DDP. That's going to leave 205 vacant. What is Ankalaev going to get? Ankalaev's going to get a shot, and it'll be just an interim belt. Ankalaev's going to get an interim belt, and then maybe after the DDP fight, Poatan comes back up. So, like, it's a lot of 205 is really in flux right now. And Ankalaev definitely, deservingly, should have gotten the title fight, in my opinion. But it is what it is. They're probably trying to capitalize on just on his star power, man. And you can't blame him. And we've seen it time and time again. We see it with Sugar Sean O'Malley. You see it with Conor. You see it with all these guys. The Dana White privilege is real, and that's a thing for a reason. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go to work. I appreciate all y'all for stopping out, stopping by. And we got 13 likes. I appreciate that. This is the highest ever liked live stream. And I'm going to continue to do more of these. I think it's fun. I like talking about the fights with y'all. And it's another fun video to do. So I'm going to get out of here. But thanks, everybody. See you next time.